Welcome back to Comics Choice with my guest tonight, Alan Davies. So, OK, your next category is Best Comedy Actor.
Right.
Do you think that comics make good actors, though?
A really great actor has all of the ability to appear natural and to be able to affect real conversation and not look odd when they're walking about. Yeah. What most comedians don't have is they don't have a kind of neutrality of appearance. No. I mean, the one thing that makes them funny, usually, is that they've got some sort of physical or verbal oddity. Yeah. I mean, I get hampered by... I always get people writing about my appearance, you know. In any gig, even comedy gigs, they don't say, yeah, it's funny. Anyway, and his hair and his face and his stupid beard and I got this one review, he said... You've got to stop reading these things.
I'm just fascinated to know what they're going to say
You get reviewed by all the hairdresser magazines, don't you?
I get reviewed by wildlife magazines, I got this one review, he said, his head resembles a massive egg and his hair hangs down his back like a shower curtain. That's not a review, that's a biological field note. Do you ever get that? Do you ever get fed up with people going on about, you know, your hair or something?
Oh, well, especially now, I do QI all the time, and Stephen Fry has now patronised me into some sort of nation's pet puppy.
Yeah.
So, if I go out, people come to me and... Oh. No. Fuck off.
Yeah. And then Stephen would go, no, Alan, just being Alan. All right, your next category is Best Comedy Actor. Your first nominee is Rick Mayall.
Rick Mayall, right, yeah.
Now, why Rick Mayall?
Well, when The Young Ones came on in 1982, I think it was, I was 16.
All right.
And by then, I was starting to resent watching shows with my family. I was in full adolescence now. So anything they liked, I didn't want to like anymore. And when The Young Ones came on, that was a show that seemed to completely designed to make adolescent children laugh their heads off. And the moment the first episode came on, it also coincided with the time where we just got a VCR at home. And so it was the first show that I recorded it, and then my friends would come around and we would watch episode after episode repeatedly.
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look at The Young Ones.
Dillian, you've got no respect for property! Hands up, who likes me? Right, that's it. I'm going to kill myself. Then you'll be sorry.
No, we won't.
Billy, can you, actually kill yourself with laxative pills?
I don't know, Neil, but I'm going to stay and find out.
I think I'm going up to my room for a bit.
This house will become a shrine. And punks and skins and rastas will all gather round and hold their hands in sorrow for their fallen leader. And all the grown-ups will say, but why are the kids crying? And the kids will say, haven't you heard? Rick is dead. The people's poet is dead. And then one particularly sensitive and articulate teenager will say, other kids, do you understand nothing? How can Rick be dead when we still have his poems? And another kid will say...
It's just, it's really childish, isn't it?
Really childish.
Very puerile and silly. It was sort of like punk TV in a way. It was kind of like something that your parents didn't like you watching.
Well, the parents just didn't get it at all.
And you remember there was bands on in The Young Ones?
Madness
Suddenly the Madness would appear in the living room. And they go, oh, look, it's The Damned. And The Damned would play their single. And that was perfectly normal.
Yeah.
And and I just thought that was a kind of crazy idea, having bands on and comedy. But what it was for a specific reason that the BBC wouldn't have commissioned it had they not had bands in it. Because with bands in it, it was a light entertainment show.
Right.
But without the bands, it's just a sitcom, and there was no budget left for sitcoms. So they actually had to have the band on to get the show made.
Actually, that worked really
yeah.
well. They went out in the street and Madness were doing something in the street and it worked.
All right, so your next nominee for comic actor is Richard Ayoade.
Yeah, it's Moss from the IT Crowd.
Yeah. Very good. IT Crowd, written by Graham Linehan.
I love the IT Crowd. My wife and I sit there and we just love Moss. We just think Moss is the funniest. There isn't a show on television that wouldn't be improved by having Moss in it. I'm thinking particularly shows like CSI.
Yeah.
I just think everything he says is funny. He plays every line perfectly, and I think it's a great comic performance.
Right. Speaking of which, your next nominee is Paul Eddington.
Yeah, Paul Eddington was one of the stars of The Good Life, and then he came to the fore as the minister in Yes Minister.
Let's remind ourselves then of Paul Eddington.
Paul Eddington had this beautiful mix of pomposity and vulnerability, and again, it was about, from an actor's point of view, it's about pitching everything just right, working so well with the other actors. But Paul Eddington just effortlessly cruised through two of the best sitcoms of his generation, hitting every single line perfectly, being a joy to watch and probably a joy to work with.
I'm going to have to put you on the spot. Who would you choose then as your best comic actor?
Well, my favourite comic actor is Paul Eddington.
Favourite comic actor, Paul Eddington.
We all know that Barbara hasn't got much in the way of clothes these days, but on you go, blundering on like some short-sighted hippopotamus about Eileen and her haute couture.
Oh, come on, Jerry. You're a bloke. You're supposed to be on my side. Ah, I know what it is. Margot's been getting at you. She told you to tell me off.
Got nothing to do with Margot.
You're not actually claiming you understand all this yourself, are you?
Some of it, yeah.
What suddenly makes you so clever?
Standing next to you.
Got to know about that.
So we now have a special category, and this is a guilty pleasure.
Yes.
Now, what would you choose for a guilty pleasure?
The producers of the show said to me, are there any shows which you're a little bit embarrassed to say that you like? And I said, well, I'm a bit embarrassed to admit that I used to watch Friends only because Courtney Cox was in it. But no, my real guilty pleasure is the brilliant classic BBC sitcom, Second World War sitcom, called It Ain't Half Hot Mum.
Let's have a look. Let's just remind ourselves of the majesty of It Ain't Half Hot Mum.
Now, lovely boys, most of you won't have flew in a aeroplane before. But you can take my word for it, there's hardly anything to worry about.
Will they give us cushions to sit on?
Cushions, cushions. This is a transport plane, get aboard, not the Brighton Bell. It's meant for carrying urgent military supplies and paratroopers, and not a load of puffs.
Hello, Baker Charlie 1. Hello, Baker Charlie 1. Report my bearing. Over. Can you hear anything? Yes, sir. What? It's going sort of...
I do not like this machine. You know, if Krishna had meant us to travel in the air, instead of hanging clouds in the sky, he would have hung chapatis.
Shut up!
I am shut.
It's like a lot of the shows at the time. It's very reliant on the class comedy, though.
Yeah.
One of the main characters was a raging homophobe.
Yes.
And one of the other major characters was a white English actor made up as an Indian, doing a comedy Indian accent.
Yeah.
For these reasons, the show is never shown anymore.
No.
The political correctness gone mad.
Gone mad.
But sadly, in losing it for those reasons, we lose some of the finest ensemble playing that match some of the best stuff from Dad's Army.
All right, we'll be back with more comedy chit-chat in a couple of minutes. See you after the break.